So basically, your practical sessions out there was how to optimise your training to make your team more effective. So Derek, I'll go to you first, and how would you, based on your session out there, how do you use that to make your team more effective?
Yeah, I think the first catalyst for any training session is enjoyment and application, I suppose. So by starting in a kind of a haphazard fashion, when we're all working together, it builds a good atmosphere in the session. So it's very random, but it's for me, that's what I was trying to do. I would normally do that after activation or after your warm up, that you would go into a kind of a group kind of session, because for me it inculcates the whole idea of working together. So I think later on there's the whole idea of that you're not alone, so never working alone. So the whole emphasis beyond working and then integrating as the session goes on, the whole idea how you're going to play, how you're going to open up space, how you're going to move, what way you're going to play in the game. So if you're saying to your players, we're going to go for their throats early on in the game, that you're trying to play in a manner that you're moving the ball as fast as you can, you're opening up space, and that you're promoting selflessness, I suppose, as much as anything else. So guys that move into space, bring their men with them, and it opens it up for other people, which is not often. People don't like doing that. They don't like being a guy that's told to stand over in the corner and be like, but they're opening up space. So I suppose with young lads, if you can interchange those guys, so that was the basis of my session. Albeit it didn't flow from one to the other, it normally would in a situation where you have 26 or 20, 27 new guys. I was trying to get across the way where you teach the skill and then you play the skill. So more often than not, as I said, it'll be 12 minutes, 36 minutes of a game, 12 minutes, no instruction. Next 12 minutes, you call them in for 30 seconds, we're going to play a particular shape, but you keep the pace as hectic and as frantic as it is, and the same the next 12 minutes, and you just leave the flow. And then when you're finishing up with shooting drills, you base it on the shape that you're playing. So that was the idea behind it. But the overall emphasis is on working together, hunting in packs, helping each other out. Very simple messages, really.
You want to show the few examples then?
Yeah, I have a couple of examples, I suppose, that might illustrate. Okay, so if you just pause there, Kevin. So this is Kevin Moore's goal for the All-Ireland final. And I just suppose how you bring rehearsal to the field. So I know people sometimes are slow to say because it's such an instinctive game, but this would have been a puck that would have been rehearsed several times. And I just, if you just watch the situation, if I just get to we're going back one, Kevin, thank you, I'll get to pause it now as we go through. So if you just pause it there, okay, you have a situation where a couple of key things in that. Just where to the right of the referee, Kevin Moore is making his run, so Kevin might be able to get, there's Kevin Moore there. The brick is to the right of Kevin Moore. So if you just go right there, to the right, yeah. The brick is here. And what you'll see Jake Dillon and Austin Gleeson come out under the bucket, and they'll bring Aidan Hart with him, who's obviously a sweeper, which opens up the space for Kevin to go in one-on-one with the keeper. Completely rehearsed. Obviously you could break hurling in such a game, it could break either way. I accept that argument, but it's, as I said, it's completely rehearsed. The key thing is when you move it on, stop it here, right? You have 4 of our 6 forwards over at that side, but what you don't see in the bottom of the screen where Kevin has the cursor now, you'll see with the green helmet there on the bottom of the screen. That's Adrian Toohey, the Galway cornerback, and Shane Bennett is with him, having come out 55 or 60 yards. So that would be as simple in training as telling Shane Bennett to run out right, bring Adrian Toohey with him, and Kevin just comes around on the loop. So I don't accept that can't be practiced. I have that argument with anyone, that can't be practiced. So just running on, you can see the whole space opens up for him then, and Brick just plays to Kevin. Now, I'm going to bring you back 5 seconds if possible, Kevin. Okay? Key thing here, just from a coaching point of view, and if I was doing a normal session here, Kevin doesn't take the ball into his hand, which means he has the opportunity to give the keeper the eyes and go down to the right. So if you notice, Kevin he knows he has the engine, he has a run on David Burke and Johnny Cohen, and he doesn't take the ball into his hand, which means when he takes it into his hand, he can go right down on Colin Cavanagh. And again, that's just a simple shooting drill where you tell your players to go down to the right of the keeper instead of going across Colin Cavanagh's body. So if you look at it, you'll see that Kevin actually just takes on the hurl, and he knows it's after rolling up, and then he gives him the ice, and he goes down to the bottom right. And that's the only bit of good luck we had in the whole game. Okay, so you see everyone, and it's a simple thing. You often see an overload puck or a kick out of football, but they go to one side, opens it up, or you see it in the football. This was Jack McCaffrey attacking the press. So I just, again, one of the shapes I tried with you, I said to you, we played in 2016 in the All-Ireland semi-final against the Kenny. So here's an example of it in action, if you like, just so people know that it's not that conventional. So we'll see the next shape with Jake. So there's Jake. We have a conventional full forward, and stop it here, Kevin. You can't see our full forward, and they're lined up. By the end of this clip, you'll see Jake Dillon at the top of the triangle. The key thing here is you just play it, stop it there. There's the tree in the full forward line. Looks conventional. In the bottom left, you'll see by the end of the play, bottom left, he'll be out 45 yards in the exact same triangle as I showed you, and he'll get involved in the play. But there's a couple of key things here. So just play it on there. Stop it there. Back in half a second if you can. Okay, stop it there. Now, on the right of the picture is Brick. On the far right is Michael Walsh, number 10. Austin Gleeson is number 11. And by the time the ball lands, Paudie Murray will be 12. So when I was saying to the boys today in the training, 10, 11, 12, they will be deep on this shape. They're going back deep, foraging for the ball. Now the question again, I put the question to the outside. We were saying, Tyke the work would ask me, do I go with TJ Reid on this long puck at Mo Murphy? And I was saying, go with him, but Jamie Barron fills in the gap. And that's exactly what happens here. So just, you watch it, when Tyke actually misses the ball, I think, in the air, Tyke goes up, and you see Jamie coming around on the... Now, stop it, no, keep going. Sorry. Yes, that's the same one, yeah. That's the same one, yeah. So that's okay. Leave it there and leave it slow. I'll tell you on the pause. Stop it there. Now, our half forward line is on our own 45 there. Far right, Michael Walsh. Sorry. Far right, Paudie Murray. 11, Michael Walsh. And 12 here with 6 on his back is Austin. Okay? And so it's a situation where I said to the young lad this morning, 15, he's going to have 5, 6 and 7 in front of him. He has to get involved. So you'll see Jake wins a free here just by reading. See Jake come into your bottom left of your picture now. Here he is, okay, 14. And he's out, he's hunting, and we win a free, and blah, blah, blah. But that's how that shape actually works in practicality. And he's out, he's hunting, and that's why he's such, you need a selfless kind of guy to do it. Alright? So here's it's the same example again. I think this is a similar example. I know that might be just a free that Austin play actor there. Okay, again, here's Tyke on the ball, half forward deep. Here's Brick coming back forward. Man, stop it there for a second. It's alright. Doesn't matter. The emphasis is on the shape. So look, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to show you how it works in practicality. Okay. So no, but that's basically it. Here they are. They're coming now. Brick is keeping it because he knows if he hits his own fellas. Jamie has to think he goes back to Kevin Warren. He comes inside, he'll go back to Brick, and Brick will go back to Kevin Warren. Very good Limerick. And if he can just stop it there. Colin Dunford on the far right has now taken up the edge of the triangle instead of Jake Dillon. So just trying to show you he's bringing out the space and it's playing into a 2-on-2. Okay, so if you need a flow, actually go on Murphy, so stop it and we have a 2-on-2 and we have space inside. It's a bit more conventional than we would have normally played. Takes a bit of courage, a bit of risk. That's one of the shapes in action, just in a real game. Okay? Thanks, Liam.
And over to yourself, Paudie. Your role within this, we eventually got you here. You're in there as the role of the Cork Senior Camogues as the manager. How do you flow from that into making your 2 sessions effective then?
Yeah, I suppose the first thing, I think players see everything, and I suppose in a training session, the chemistry has to be right between the management team, coaches, S&Cs. If a coach comes and he's after a bad day of work, to me, he should take a step aside, get his head clear. Body language is good coming onto the pitch. So I think that's the key starting out. I suppose our principles, what Kevin was working on today, our principles really would be working hard. So when we don't have the ball, we've got to work very, very hard to win it. The second thing then is, once we win that ball, we don't want to give it away. I think a lot of what Kevin worked on today was ball to the hand, retaining players off the shoulder, triangle around the ball player, and then it's working it into the scoring zone and obviously executing it then. So I think they're really our three principles. Kevin tends not to have any cones, or very little cones. Our view would be that, you know, by putting cones out, you're really telling players where to go, whereas I think we would prefer players to make up their mind where to go and work things out themselves. Probably a lot of Kevin's training as well, he would be looking for players to instruct rather than to be instructed as well. You know, but now on the final day, there's no one going to go and tell the player what to do. Really, they have to make up their mind and do it themselves, you know, so that's it.
Yeah. And how does the relationship then work? Well, I suppose it works out well because you're both brothers, but how does that relationship work out between you when you're trying to plan the season ahead or the session ahead?
I'm sure it doesn't work out right. I suppose my role really is, myself and the performance analyst, we spend a lot of our time analysing, going through data, and we would sit down with Kevin and the S&C. Kevin knows the way we want to play. I suppose one thing that we would agree on is the style of play that we want to play. So let's say we're playing Kilkenny or Galway or whoever, we would work out our own game plan leading up to that, and basically it's up to Kevin to execute that plan. You know, I suppose I don't believe in Kevin spending all his time looking at the opposition. I think that's up to me. He spends his time, I suppose, looking at game plays and how to obviously make the players better.
Great. And we'll pass over then to Kevin. I suppose Paudie's made the best introduction for you, so when he gives you the go-ahead, how do you put it into action?
Well, I suppose I kind of base everything off of principles, and that kind of really drives my concept of my session. And context is extremely important for me. So often we play a high possession game, as I was explaining earlier on, with a very high number of possessions per game. That takes a lot of planning, obviously, a lot of hard work, a lot of selfish stuff, as Derry was saying. A lot of people making a lot of space for others to exploit. I have certain principles, like ball plus 2 would be a certain principle in mine where we work in triangles, and I know Derry mentions a lot about triangles, but it's easy to say, but it's to put it into practice. It's really, sometimes can be quite difficult trying to get that concept across to players. But I suppose a conversation I had with Damien Young, who you're going to be listening to later on last night, we had a great conversation for a couple of hours, and like I would take a lot of analysis from our performance analysis, but it's actually putting that analysis into your practices can be quite difficult. I think that's the difficulty maybe a lot of coaches will have come across, with basically getting that analysis and how we apply that in our coaching sessions. And you know, again, it still goes back to our principle of how we actually want to play the game. I have a certain philosophy about the game: speed of the ball, speed of the player, moving at pace, and that will drive my principles and my context and my content. You know, so I'm lucky enough that we share similar enough principles, so there's not too much fighting going on between the two of us. Plus as well, I'm sure that any income squad, you've driven good players, extremely high achievers, exceptionally intelligent, and you know, it's pretty easy to get by it. I just said to the young fellas there in the last couple of words, I said it's the most important muscle for me, and you might have seen it in some of my games. That's only just a small flavour, and it's quite difficult when you're coming up to these conferences and you're just trying to give a small flavour. But the most important muscle for me is your brain. That for me is the most important thing. And that's why we'll try to work with a lot of cognitive games at the start. Make sure to switch them on. Really sweat their brain, make it difficult to that side of things. I think the rest will look after the central relationship between listening elements and stuff. The brain is the one that you're working for. So that's kind of generally how I operate.
Great. Guys, starting to use now. Any questions for anybody or all of the panel? Anybody? Just stick your hand up and I'll give you the mic. Yep. Oh, aye. Right at the back.
I get questions for you mentioned that in your tactics for puckage, you wanted your forward players to take their marker with them. The question was, what do you instruct them when their marker doesn't go with them?
Well, I give the absolute independence and autonomy to the keeper to pick them out then, you know. So generally a keeper has to be completely aware. We have pucked scenarios, but we'd mix that with the absolute right and independence of the keeper to play as he sees in front of him. So, you know, that sounds contradictory in terms of the structure, but there has to be the autonomy to be able to go short to see what he sees. So if the man doesn't go with him, you have an obvious overload, you know, you have an obvious advantage, there's nobody with him outside. Okay, but I think there's a cuteness involved. It's not every player that can come out 35 yards and bring his man. You know, there's a cuteness involved with it. So Puckett, if he comes and he's no one with him, he has to get the ball. He has to get the ball, or has to go to the area where he's on the break with nobody on him. Okay, so, but I think the key thing for that is to switch the roles of, say, if you take a young team doing that, you know, I was down watching, we got to the Fair semi-final this year, and Thurlock Moore gave us an awful hammering in the semi-final of the Fair this year, that was hard. And they were really, really well drilled on puckouts. And they were opening it up for really, really, you know, they have a couple of fantastic players, and corner forward come out 35, 40 yards, our corner back, as he would tell a young lad, follow your man, don't even beat you, man on man. And he's going out 45, 50 yards, the ball was being poked into one-on-one situations for their really, really hot full forward, and he did it for 3 goals because the space was opened up. So what age do you tell a guy to tuck in, you know? And that's, I suppose, the debate for another day. But yeah, to answer your question, I would normally allow the autonomy or the independence for the keeper to be able to give it to that free guy, you know? Definitely.
Any other questions? Yep.
And I have the panel, if you have a man set off, the opposition of a man set off, where do you play the spur man?
Ask all three.
Well, Camogie, we've very few sit off. Yeah, we tend to, we call it a corridor. We just put in our forwards into the middle of the pitch and create a corridor on either side, and then try to nullify their spare player. Obviously, when we worked the ball to our half-back line, we didn't go down the flanks, and we break for the middle. And I suppose that's what we hope that would nullify. Okay, we can go into a circle as well. Sometimes we will go into a circle and we will break from there, but no ball goes down the middle then.
Kevin, you've no differences in that, do you?
Yeah, I mean, we would set specific plays in our sessions to deal with, we'd say, if we have a player set off or if you're playing a sweeper. And we have certain types of plays and formations, and where we would expect our players, and I think, again, just in a couple of words at Derry saying, rehearsals, we would do a lot of rehearsals, and how we would approach certain situations if they occur in games. And certainly if we're down a player or if they're playing a sweeper, we would have certain systems to deal with that, and we would expect our players to be exceptionally adaptive and flexible and robust enough to actually take that instruction literally with maybe a phrase or a word that we would use to execute that, and we would rehearse that a lot. So we have a lot of groundwork done early on the season, but certainly in our in-season work, it would be a lot of rehearsals.
Yeah, I just come in there. I suppose one thing that we're very used of is playing against the sweeper, because probably 90% of the teams that we play against will play a sweeper, if not 2 sweepers. So, like from the very start, we work on that. Like every week, we have patterns of play to counteract that the whole time. So, you know, something that would be probably more common in our game than in hurling.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose anecdotally, if you take this year's All-Ireland final, Richie Hogan sent off, Carl Marcus left free for the second half. I was watching them saying, they said, there was a move made about 7 or 8 minutes beforehand where Padraig Murray came over and Walter Walsh and Shane Kennedy came over and John Donnelly. So I was saying to myself, geez, Padraig Murray is normally free for tip, how will they free him up? But I'd say at half time it was a situation where Barry Heffernan was on top of AJ Mullen, Ronan Maher was on top of Colin Findlay, as I said, Seamus Kennedy was on top of John Donnelly, Padraig Murray was on top of Walter Walsh, and I missed the one back, and Brendan Maher was obviously tagging TJ Reid wherever he went. So they were left with Colin Barrett. I thought he gave a master class in. But I think that the key word there is flexibility and adaptability. If the irony of it is, there's so much debate around the sweeper, and no better man to know about it than myself to do, but there's so much debate about it, and yet Tip, for all their bravado, decided to leave Colin Barrett back there. Why didn't they push him up, Why didn't they go 5-on-5 in the back? They didn't want to risk it, and nobody wants to risk a situation being 5-on-5 at the back. So for me, that was a good decision. So, the lads talk about corridors and circles and formations, etc. And we would have scenarios like where I think you have to be completely flexible. You have to allow if you're there with an extra man. How can he influence the play? So if there's 10 minutes gone into the game and he's decided to hang around the edge of the D and the guys are playing around him, well then there has to be a decision made between keeper and sweeper, if you like. Keeper is coming out as forward and the guy who's manning the edge of the D now becomes a factor out in the middle of the field. He gets on ball. So I think he has to influence the play. So there has to be periods in the second half or within 40 minutes left. What was very obvious early in the second half of the All-Ireland final is, according to Kilkenny were going on, Cathal Barrett was influencing the game. But if he just take a scenario where he wouldn't have been influencing the game, he would have had to kind of free himself up to maybe get involved out around the middle and make play, if you like. But sometimes I think when a man gets sent off, you can be left in a situation where you force it so much that you go after it and you leave actually more space at the back for yourself as well. So I think the key word is flexibility, and as the boys say, preparing for it, talking about it, but yet not having a situation where the boys are saying, remember we practiced this 2 weeks ago or last week, this is what we do in this situation. Just having a kind of flow to it as well. In 2017, Cork had a man sent off against us, Damien Callahan, about 8-9 minutes to go. Cork went 2 points up immediately after that. And it looked like they got that momentum shift that comes sometimes with the effort that comes from 14 men. And then all of a sudden Cork had to push 5-on-5 on us at the back of the space opened up. So I think it's about being patient and flexible.
Thanks. Any final question? Anybody? Yep.
Well, just particularly there for Derek, you used the metaphor outside going for the throat or the juggler at different times. When it doesn't work, have you reset, or you see a lot of times maybe teams going out that are negative at half time, they're going out and say, we'll win the first ball, we'll go forward and attack. Is it your terminology that you use? Do you have a reset on the field?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I suppose again the best way to answer this from anecdotal experience. This year we played Tipperary, or last year we played Tipperary, the day of the famous goal for one, you probably remember it for that. But we played with the shape that we described earlier on, that Offaly shape. One fella comes out 45 yards, Padraig Murray comes deep from centre forward. And we played really well. And we played really kind of, good hurling, and we scored 223 or 224 or whatever the score was each. And we were playing Limerick the following Sunday, and the whole week was dominated in Waterford by, Waterford played great. They just let them out and play, the shackles were off, blah, 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 blah. And we made the mistake of not planning as consistently as we would for Limerick. And we went out and we kind of played in the exact same manner against Limerick. So Patrick Curran came out from the edge of came out from corner forward, we left Tom Devine and Stephen Bennett inside, our half forward and came deep. And Limerick actually did the opposite. Limerick brought the 2 corner forwards out to the middle of the field, and they packed the middle of the field. So they actually, which allowed Declan Hannon to sit back in the pocket. So, maybe I'm getting the beef off my chest as early as I can. I think everyone is playing with a form of a defensive 6 or a sweeper, or every team. And I really do. I actually genuinely believe that there's no difference between Declan Hannon or what any team player is doing across the board. So, to answer your question, it's the adaptability, the willingness to change. We had a brilliant physio. I was talking to Paudie about this last night. We were talking about the role of the physio for the South African rugby team. Nibar, is that proper pronunciation? He's a chartered physiotherapist, but he was the defence coach with Munster, he's a defence coach with South Africa. There's some great clips of during the week imparting messages to the defence without having to get the message down because he knows it so well. So the importance of your Mayor Flurna, of your physio, of the people on the Mayor issues in terms of imparting the message. He was really a brilliant physio. Again, just completely tuned into the message. So in terms of if it's not working, you have to change it. Sometimes we were afraid to change it. So I remember that game against Limerick, we were 1-4 to a point down, and we were saying we have a shape called Cork where you bring the two corner forwards out as well. We said no, we'll open them up in this way, and that's, I suppose you learn from those particular things. But yeah, I think the people around you in terms of messages are very important, and the flexibility to change and not be afraid to change. No, not be afraid to change. And the message, I suppose, is the plan based on who you're playing as well. Just because you played one way the last day doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get away with it the next day,
Okay, thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, to a round of applause for our three special speakers.